What is up? What is up? YouTube. Oh, shucks. We at Sean Atwood's channel, baby. Shout out to Sean Atwood. Congratulations, man. He finally made it over 1 million subscribers, man. Congratulations to Sean. I had the pleasure to speak with him and all that type of stuff. We do a lot of his videos and he don't mind. Thank you. Kirby Sommers on Trump Epstein cover-up scandal. I think Kirby Sommers is related to somebody. Don't quote me on that, but she is. We're gonna find out. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. I'm excited, y'all. Let's check this bad boy out.
One of the most well-researched people I know on the Epstein story. A story that day after day has escalated to the point where it's now burning out of control, threatening to burn down the political establishment. Obviously, there's stuff on both sides they are worried about. We've got Trump suing Rupert Murdoch, and it's just gone completely bonkers. So, huge thank you for coming on, Kirby. All of Kirby's links, including her YouTube channel, they're all at the top of the description box if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you want to get even more detail than we can talk about on YouTube due to community guidelines, we're going to tell you how to go over to Kirby's platform, Substack, etc. to get absolutely everything. So thanks for coming back, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me back, Sean, especially at this time. I mean, you opened it in the manner that is happening. I mean, the pushback and ever-changing story about the JE files and the obvious cover-up under Donald Trump's administration, it's a historic moment. And like literally for the first time, we, the public, refuse to be lied to anymore. And as much as transparency is needed for the victims of JE, all survivors of the elite and powerful so-called, let's say, masters of the universe, myself included, our cries, our screams for some sort of justice, even if only in the court of public opinion, we're finally being heard. So good has come out of this cover-up. The story is back in the news, big time, bigger than ever before. And it's not just us chickens, right, in the back row talking about this with each other. Mainstream, which is still CIA controlled to present day, they're talking to really, again, incredible moment in history. Don't you agree it's a historical turning point?
I have never seen so many clips of people shown. I mean, people pounding the table to say they were going to release the Epstein files.
And they didn't.
And then contrary clips showing them presently completely denying the existence. Candace Owens described it as upside down world. And it's just such a blatant slap in the face to the public, the supporters, and everybody who has been campaigning to expose these monsters. But the bigger picture is they're also indicating that they don't care about people who go after children. And that just hits the heart of any human being who's got feelings. They have to be utter psychopaths to be covering up such a big issue as this.
Did y'all see that clip where Trump started saying the Epstein files, that's boring. He said it was boring. And then he said, they still talking about that? The Epsteins, that's old. They still talking about that? And everybody's like, you got daggone cotton picking right. We still talking about it. Because you said, while you was running, that you going to release these Epstein, the files. He said that they was going to release the files, and he didn't. I guess he found out he couldn't get his name off that list.
Which they are. I mean, we know historically that's the way they roll, right? However, I think it's more than just Donald Trump's, let's say, like the biggest thing is for him not to be exposed as being, quote, part of this thing. I think there's more to this. And after I share, and I hope we have time to share what I'd like to share with you guys, and this is this is an exclusive The only people that know what I'm going to share with Sean and his followers is only been shared on my Substack with my followers, because I've been investigating this group of miscreants for over 20 years. And really, from the time of J.E.'s arrest on July 6, 2019, I have been deep diving, dot connecting every single day. And all of you know this. And today I'm going to be sharing highlights from just 2 of my 350 or so articles. And by the way, I have over 20 books on top of it. But these articles, I keep them on Substack. And it is my contention that just like Alexander Acosta, let's remember Alexander Acosta, back off, over my pay grade, he belongs to intelligence. It is my contention, and I believe many of you will be able to see, because I'm going to explain this with receipts. Sean has some pictures he's going to share with you as I talk. We've been working carefully to make sure this comes across loud and clear for you guys. I am of the conviction that Trump has been told to back off. And I'm going to show how JE is connected not only to Mossad, which is primarily what the masses hear, but also to CIA. And frankly, there are other intelligence agencies with whom he had a relationship. But I will be primarily explaining the CIA connection, which will explain why Trump is pushing back so hard. And for that, I think it's important for all of us to remember that Robert Maxwell, who's Ghislaine Maxwell's father, is and really best remembered as Israel's super spy, primarily because of the book of the same name by Gordon Thomas and Martin Dillon. But Maxwell was set up in the publishing industry in the UK by MI5. I've got some names. I've got names. I cover this in my work. And anyone who has studied Maxwell knows that he also had covert intel ties to Russia. And publishing has always been a spy's nest. It's like, that's where they keep their spies, give them a newspaper to run. It's perfect cover. So we know that from Robert Maxwell. As a side note, because nobody knows this, except again for us chickens, right? Donald Trump's father, Fred, is alleged to have been provided, let's call them little people, because what word can we use? Minors? By a survivor. Okay, minors. By a survivor of the Franklin allegations, also referred to as a hoax, by the way. And despite the fact that there have been 2 books and 1 documentary about this subject, Fred Trump has never been disclosed except for right here on your show right now. Also not disclosed are some people who cross over from Franklin into JE. So it's not like, again, everybody likes to compartmentalize these. And I'm going to name just 2, and then I'm going to start with my articles. The first would be a former U.S. Senator from Ohio. Ohio, ring a bell, people? Leslie Wexner. And one of the first NASA astronauts, John Herschel Glenn, born in 1921. I have to say unalived, I apologize. We have to be very careful. We use code words too. In 2016. So that person was clearly involved as a very good friend of Craig Spence in the Franklin situation. Very close friend of J.E. We see him on the flight logs. We see him with Wexner. The second person I'm going to share, which has, again, crossover, Jack Nicholson, Hollywood superstar. So I met a guy by the name of Jamie Crawford who did a deep dive. I had also connected Jack Nicholson to the Franklin case because I have depositions and conversations from other survivors of that other hoax. And in the very long, maybe 60-page or so deposition, he mentioned Jack Nicholson. So I uploaded that to my Patreon, I believe, in March of this year. And then I bumped into Jamie Crawford because I noticed that he had tried to expose that Nicholson was provided a known JE survivor, been like she's been on a lot of shows and she's just been, been given Epstein compensation funds, so on and so forth. And he tried to upload a podcast that he did, a very great professional podcast with photographs and like connecting the dots. And it was removed from Reddit. So I can no longer even post anything on Reddit. We have a lot of gatekeepers where we least expect them. You would expect that the Epstein Reddit, I can't upload anything to news on Reddit. And we could remember that Glenn is alleged to have been the #1 Reddit user, Maxwell Hill, right? So anyway, so there are two people, and there are more, by the way, but I just thought I would bring to everybody's attention Jack Nicholson and a few more names that maybe people are not kind of like, familiar with. So the first article that I'm going to share is Who's Afraid of Jeffrey Epstein? And I answered Donald Trump for one, the cover-up explained. And this is just part one of a multi-part series. And so I'm gonna begin with like two sort of quotes. One is from George White, who was in charge of those houses back, in the day, one in San Francisco, one in New York, with the two-way mirror where they were dosing people unexpectedly. And he wrote to Sidney Gottlieb in 1971, of course, I was a very minor missionary, actually a heretic, but I toiled wholeheartedly in the vineyards because it was fun, fun, fun. Where else could a red-blooded American boy lie, kill, and cheat, steal, deceive, R-word, and pillage with the sanction and blessing of the All-Highest? That's George White to Sidney Gottlieb in 1971. Now, in 1954, Isser Harel, the director of Mossad, met with Allen Dulles. This is from my book, J.E. Predator Spy, and presented him with an engraved dagger. And it read, "The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps." He responded with these words, "You can count on me to stay awake with you." These words cemented the partnership between Mossad and CIA. That's why I think people just get things one side only. And I just want to say that the co-author of Robert Maxwell, Israel Super Spy, is someone that I befriended. I know that Professor Hamamoto befriended the other one, Gordon Thomas. He visited him. He went to England to visit him. I thought that was just pretty cool. So I befriended Martin Dillon, and Martin Dillon does not believe Ari Ben-Menashe. I do not believe Ari Ben-Menashe's story, and Martin Dillon was so upset with everything that he took himself off of X. Just FYI. So, we have to be careful what we listen to. In any event, I'm going to start with part one of a multi-part article. The others are on my Substack. And then I'm going to share with you another one, which is really where I push hard on why Trump is scared. So I'm going to begin in the aftermath of Watergate. And by the way, Sean, if you want to question me while I'm doing this, let me know, okay?
Yes.
So in the aftermath of Watergate, when the CIA was busy defending themselves and their agents from investigations by domestic authorities, the Bank of Credit and Commerce, BCCI, later referred to as the Bank of Crooks and Criminals International, became the go-to vehicle for the agency. It was a fraud of gigantic proportions and involved money laundering, child transportation, bribery, gun running, substance transportation, and terrorism, to name a few. Donald Trump's Justice Department, the decision not to release the JE files and basically ordering them to stand down has more to do with CIA and its illegal activities than it does with Trump being on the list. So in June, we know that Musk taunted the president by posting on X, "Time to drop the really big bomb. At Donald Trump is in the JE files." That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. He followed with, mark this for the future. The truth will come. And he's, he ended it with the truth will come out, and he has since deleted his post. Now, when that came out, what did you think? Because it's gone.
I was watching the value of Tesla go down in the stock market rapidly, and I was just thinking, this is just like a high school spat here now. And the way they just went at it was I mean, you got like one of the most powerful men in the world going at it with one of the most powerful politicians versus the most powerful business people. I've never expected to see anything like that in my lifetime, just going bam, bam, like little kids on social media.
Now, here's the thing. I don't think Musk knows more than what he knows, right? I mean, he's good with what he does. I don't think that he's really good with American history. We have to remember he was born in South Africa, then he spent some time in Canada, and then he's basically involved himself into, let's say, a U.S. administration. Not a lot of people really last with Donald Trump. And so I knew he was going to last less than 6 months, and it's true. However, it is true that there's something going on, right? I mean, he is scared of something, but it's bigger, I believe, again, that his name is on the list, which we all know. I mean, his name has been public information for a really long time. It's in the flight logs. It's in the black book. It's in all the photographs that we see every single day now. Okay. But we have that lawsuit. And I want to just say a little bit about that lawsuit by the 13-year-old girl who used not her real name just before the first time that he took office in 2016. She was represented by a well-known attorney and became afraid because of threats against her life. I have had not just threats against my life. I have a podcast on my YouTube channel showing what was left of my apartment after I was kept hostage at knife point for 5 days, managing by I don't know what because the police would not come. I called them twice as he was trying to get in through the window. However, when you are someone they want to silence, they will threaten you, if not come after you and unalive you. I managed to escape. I continue to be very careful about where I go, who I let into my life, and even whose podcast I show up on, right? However, the 13-year-old girl, she didn't have any money when she filed this claim against Donald Trump and JE. However, she started to receive threats. The attorney that was representing her suddenly said to her, well, we're going in and we're going to do a press conference. And the girl got scared and she backed away. Now, I happen to know that someone who does investigate these things found her. In fact, several people have, quote, found her, which as a victim and a survivor myself of the same people, it feels very intrusive and stalkerish. Like when I had a lot of people contact me in July of 2019, coming out of the woodwork, I was terrified. And for them, and they all reached out to me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm in danger because I don't know who these people are, right? Because we already know through the stories we've heard from the JE survivors, including Juliette Bryant, who was beaten up by somebody she trusted at her home, that they insert people into our lives, like maybe that happened with Virginia, right? So that someone has tracked her down. She doesn't want to return his emails. And I'm thinking, leave her alone. He claims, okay, well, she's living a normal life. She's in real estate. Well, that's what I did. I went into real estate. I was thinking I was living a normal life, but I wasn't, because everything I did was interfered with. This is what they do. They interfere with, so that the girl I didn't go to court. I didn't collect millions of dollars. I just tried to just keep going, put it behind me, just like this 13-year-old victim. But the girl that a lot of people thought was unalived was a girl who was 12 by the name of Maria. This was very detailed in the lawsuit that she filed herself. She then backed away, and there is pushback against believing this. Why would there be? We know that J.E., for example, was gifted triplets that were only 12 years old from Jean-Luc Brunel in the modeling field. The modeling field provided Donald Trump with Melania. And I'll come back one day and I'll tell you all about Melania that nobody knows about. But that is what, so that there are a lot, let's just say that there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of pushback, and there are people that should be believed, like that lawsuit that she dropped. I mean, they were best friends for 15 years. I don't think that it's now something that's unknown, let's say, right? So in any event, he won the presidency, and he promised during his second presidential run that if elected, he would release all the JE files. And so had he gone ahead and dropped these unseen documents, photos, and even videos, it would have, however, opened a Pandora's box so big that its subsequent scandal would have eclipsed those of BCCI, Watergate, the Church Committee hearings of 1975, and Iran-Contra, all rolled up into one, because if one studies these, you'll discover they're all connected. We have a thread that connects this. We have threads into CIA, we have threads into Mossad, and guess what? They interweave with JE. They all interweave with JE. And so I think we're going to be able to clarify this as I keep going.
Wow, I didn't know it was going to cut off like that. That's amazing, man. That the guy, hey, Trump is your guy if you voted for him. It's amazing how basically he said he was going to release the files and everything, and he didn't. So what's going on with that? Hey, y'all let me know in the comments, man. What in the world should we do? I mean, we don't have no pull. Show the files, man. Live up to what you said you was going to do. That's all we asking. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Let me know what y'all think.